Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Paul K. Dunn coming to you live. Today's topic is going to be the new cash flow quadrant. Um, for you who don't know me, I am the owner advisor of Jay & Sons Cash Flow Advisors. Most of you are in my group. Some of you aren't. If you are not in my group, please find the link below either the video or one of our posts, and we can get you there so that you can receive daily updates from us. We're here to bring value when it comes to anything cash flow. Our principles are specifically in certain areas, so we don't go after everything, but we do know of the best things to go after when it comes to cash flow and when it comes to winning the money game. That's the real purpose of what we do is educating our community, financially empowering our community in 2018 to understand how to win the money game. So again, today's topic is going to be about the cash flow quadrant. And it's just going to be a quick short video to introduce some of you guys who haven't seen it. For those of you who have and already are aware of the cash flow quadrant, today's video is going to be more so showing where the evolution is going for the new cash flow quadrant and what we are trying to empower people to do with the release of Bitcoin and the new stratosphere around cryptocurrency. The never-ending excitement and possibilities of making money really is driving home the point that we are moving as a society and as a whole when it comes to how we understand investing. And even though Bitcoin is risky, has its, it has its pitfalls, it has its traps into it. What it is doing is changing the face of investing for the younger people and some of the older people who really didn't understand Wall Street, so to speak, because it really is a deregulated version of Wall Street that is not manipulated by the government. So today's topic and showing you the cash flow quadrant will give you a broad understanding of where we want our people in our group to be when it comes to cash flow, when it comes to money, when it comes to financial principles that rich people use on a daily basis that they've grown up with for eternities. Pretty much to this point, they've passed on, generation to generation to generation. They've passed on certain habits and certain rules that they stick to, and it keeps them in that light of wealth on a more frequent basis than most other cultures. So today's introduction to the cash flow quadrant, what I hope you will get from it is, if you haven't heard of it before, is that you will get a broad understanding of the classes of people when it comes to money and the classes in the economy. When it comes to money, there's only a couple of things you need to know there. And for those of you who are already a bit advanced, I want to show you guys where it's going and where we want to continue to keep it going so that we understand the knowledge that we're going to need in our upcoming future, because it is evolving rather quickly. So without further ado, the very first thing that we want to do is pinpoint where it came from. So the cash flow quadrant came from a guy named Robert Kiyosaki, who's written many books, and a lot of the things that I do is based on his education. He is very solid when it comes to helping you understand how to get out of the rat race, how to stop living from paycheck to paycheck, and understanding the principles of money. So the original cash flow quadrant was introduced to majority of the world through Robert Kiyosaki. He's been around for a long time. There's a lot you can find on him, and if anybody wants to win the money game, it's highly suggested that you read at least 4 to 5 of his books to get a full understanding. One of our books that I've released and written for free that you can start with is the 5 financial intelligences, which was also written in a different way or in a different format. He really didn't elaborate too much in his book on it, but what he did do was he introduced it to me, and my entire investment principles have been shifted around his teaching in that category. So if you want to know more about that book, just send us a quick email or text message, and I'll send you the link to the website, and you can go and find it there. But that's really, in a nutshell, where it came from, and what the cash flow quadrant is it's really just 4 different areas of how we deal with money. So on the left side of money, you have the active side where you're either employed or self-employed. And for our economy, 95% of all of the money that is made for the country is made on the left side from the 95%. And on the right side, you have passive income, which is for the business owners and the investors, and there are only 5% on that side. So 95% of the money is made for and passed to the other 5% of the United States. Really, it's different in other countries, but generally it follows the same pattern, where majority of the economy pays for the lifestyle of the top 5% wealthy. Okay, and the top 5% wealthy owns the other 95% of the country, because they know how to operate passive income that comes in whether they're asleep or not, whether they're at work or not. They set up systems that run on autopilot, and then they get the other 95% to manage those systems for them. So there's only 2 sides. Either you're on the left side of money or you're on the right side of money. And where we want you to be is on the right side of money. Active money means you cannot leave from that from that source of income without it disappearing. You have to work over and over and over and over to create active income. Passive income, you can spend a whole bunch of time in a over a period of time. That could be a small period or a long period, just depends on what you're building. But you spend a certain number of hours and go through a certain number of problems to get a system in place that can then duplicate you, and then you can walk away and let that run itself, and then you can go and start something else. That's passive income, because it works. Once you set it up, it works with or without you for the most part. Okay. And so what we're teaching today really is how this is evolving, or how we're seeing it evolve, and how we want to play a part in making sure that it continues to go in that direction, because we want to make sure as many people as possible get on the right side of money. So as you can see, you have employee is the E, self-employed is the S, business owner is the B, and I is for investor. So we'll explain more about those in our updated version. So where we're going today, and where we see the evolution coming into play, looks more like this now. So the old model was here on the left, which is what you just seen by Robert Kiyosaki, and we break down the numbers so you can see how that works. And essentially what it is that big business owners, they run businesses. They a lot of them may spend a lot of time setting those things up and managing, making sure they consult those businesses. They spend a lot of time there, but those businesses make so much money, and they're very, very close to um, operating themselves, that majority of the big business owners do not have to be there on a day-to-day basis. And those are things like Tesla. Even though Bezos is a part of Amazon, he doesn't have to be there. Even though what you call it is a part of Microsoft, he doesn't have to be there. Bill Gates, he doesn't have to be there on a daily basis. He just plays that part. That's what he loves to do. Warren Buffett doesn't have to be a part of his company at 84 years old, 86 years old, wherever he is today. He just does it because that's what he loves to do. But they make so much money that these people can actually walk away and they have more than enough money for them and, generations to come. And that's really the purpose about being on the right side. The second part of the right side is called investor, and that's really where we're leading our new and evolved cash flow quadrant. We want to lead everybody into, no matter where you are, whether you're on the left or right, no matter what you're doing, you should always invest regardless. Now, big business owners don't necessarily invest the same way. They don't necessarily take cash and lend it out or take cash and make more cash. They make money from their businesses. A true investor can take his wealth. He can find places to put his wealth, and that money will come back with more money. It's almost like sending a scout out to bring back more friends to the party. When you're a true investor, you don't need a business because you have money. You don't have to set up a business structure. You find people who want to start a business. You give them money, and then you charge them an interest amount to give you your money back with more. That's a true investor. And where we believe the world is going, or what we're seeing it evolve on a smaller portion, but where we want to push it and shift it towards is towards the new side, where even if you're an employee, you understand investing. You understand how to take the money you're making and do something else on the side that's going to help make more money while you're at work. Even if you're self-employed, you're doing your own business and you have something that you really need to focus on, but you're taking those profits and you're not just pouring them back all into the business. You're doing other things with that money that's guaranteeing you what we call compound interest, seventh wonder of the world phenomena. It makes your money grow. That's what the right side of money does regardless. They make sure, if they're in business, they make sure the business is successful, and a lot of times they become investors to where they've made enough money. All they need to do is sit down and they can put 2-3 million in the bank, and it can pay interest on a yearly basis by sitting in the bank, never depleting itself. It'll pay out interest for the rest of that person's life, and they can make more by having that money sitting there and spitting out interest than people going to work every day and trying to make the same amount. And that's what we're getting at when it comes to investing. We want to make sure that on the new side, everyone's an investor. And the new cash flow quadrant is employed investor, self-employed investor, a business investor, someone who invests in business, but he then takes the capital and helps to start other businesses because he's not afraid of competition. And then finally, we just really highlight the fact that an investor is really a cash investor, someone who takes cash, he flips it, gets more back. That's really what the cash flow quadrant is turning into. And with the help of Bitcoin, we're seeing that our true to life drawing is coming to pass in a way that we couldn't foresee before. But this is one great example how people at work, they're going to work every day, but they see Bitcoin rising. So they're like, well, man, what can I do to put some money in Bitcoin, get my investment rising too? Because they see people winning. And that's usually all it takes. Enough people begin to win, uh, we can shift mentality. And that's really just the small taste of what wealth is, what people on Wall Street have been doing for years, making work for years. This is all they do day in, day out. They find companies, they invest in them. Those companies take off. Some of them flop, but when they win big, and then they go, they enjoy that money. They take a piece of that money and they invest it again. They could be going to work every day. They could have a high $200,000, $300,000 salary, but they cut some money, take the money to the side. They invest in real estate. They invest in other lending opportunities where they can lend out money in order to get more back for their money. And this is really a key, a vital point, because we're going to be teaching more on Bitcoin and how to really make it work, on cryptocurrency and how to really make it work, so that you prepare not only for things that rise and you don't get caught up in that emotion, but you also know what to do when it's declining, and that you have investments in place that can actually grow when the market declines. And I believe that that's the key to education. And unfortunately, not everyone wants to learn it, because in some areas it's boring or it's technical, it's difficult to understand because it's not our background. But we will make it as easy as we can in teaching you. And we just hope that we can bring some value by sort of opening your awareness. You will see our quote a lot coming from us, because we're going to drill it into you. Investing is power, and it's one of the most powerful things that you can do. So please stay tuned for the for one of our next videos coming up, and please go check it out. It's going to be what we call the triangle of investment. It will give you an update, an updated, I would say, graph or picture, a visual of how we use our investment tools in a synergy, just to make sure that we're always focused, because we stay in the same areas until those areas make us tremendously wealthy. Then we can step outside of that platform and dibble and dabble in something else. But the easier the platform that we make, um, the easier that platform to understand for the average investor, the easier to be for us to help people get to this new and improved cash flow quadrant, and to start to teach people, whether they're employed or not, teach them which side of money they're on, figure out what their goal is, and begin their journey, so that ultimately they end up on the right side of money, being able to do the things that they love to do, making sure that they have a quality of life that they deserve, or that they desire. Because I don't believe anyone deserves anything from birth. I believe there's desires, and then there's those who are going to go get those desires. If I don't want to sound too, I don't want to empower anybody who has any kind of entitlement, or spoiled people who believe they deserve for everything to be handed to them. This thing takes work. It takes education, and it takes a focus. When you want something, you have to put energy towards it. And that's really the bottom line. So any questions, make sure you get to us. Make sure you get to the group. Make sure you send them in. We are trying to widen our exposure, so you'll find us on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn. We're just making sure that you can get to us and reach out to us no matter where you are. So with that, really, that is it. That is our nugget for today. We really hope that you got something from it. If there's something you want to hear about, please let us know. Just remember, we are starting up How to Bitcoin. That's going to be coming soon, just to make sure that we educate people on what Bitcoin is and how they could potentially win from it. So I'm Paul K. Dunn, owner advisor of Jay & Sons Cash Flow Advisors, wishing you prosperity, abundance, and success in everything you do. And until next time, wish you a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night.